Hearty welcome to the Chat with Chap show. It's a festive season, and everywhere people are all crisscrossing, meeting people, and sharing whatever is the best possible. It's a difficult time to share what is the best possible. People are all doing. Two things which will never diminish and it will never reduce as you keep giving. They are smiles and blessings. Muskan or Duai. These are the two things as you keep giving, it will never reduce at all. And let's give this as the festive season, the difficult season, and an opportunity season are with us. So today, to have chat with champ show, our champion is going to join us is Mohit. Mohit, we welcome you to this chat with champ show. Hearty welcome to you.
Hello, sir. Good morning. Great to
Good
meet you,
morning.
sir.
Miles apart. We have not missed you, but still the connectivity, what is there? So the internet is also kind of blessing, and the mantra that you always say that involve me and I will learn. Yeah. So the famous quote that we always have come across is teach me, I may forget, something like that, and I may
Tell
remember.
me, I may forget.
And, uh
Teach me, I may remember. And involve me, I will learn.
involve me, and I will learn. So involving is what is important, and the more you involve and the more you teach, you learn more. So that it is. So we welcome you to the chat with Jam Show, Mohit. Wonderful to have you, Mohit. You are a great inspiration, and you have led a team. And I should say, the father of a word called social engineering, which which started. The journey was beautiful. You engineered, rather, we say that we have resources, we have human resource, we have knowledge resource, but to engineer all this resource, you need to have a social engineer. And you came on way, and you have led the beautiful journey. Our sincere gratitude to you. I'm sure the audience and the champions across are eagerly waiting. How did this social engineering happen, where you have come and touched upon many lives?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. In fact, yeah, I think the topic is really, I think, really important and relevant for this year. I think the word involve is the golden word of 2020. Schools are wondering how to involve students remotely. Kindergartens are wondering how to involve smaller kids remotely. Corporates are wondering how to involve their employees virtually. And involve is actually the golden word for 2020. And that was one of the motivators for this small summer internship, which happened to be a longer engagement uh, with IDF. So I think we'll get into the details of what actually happened and the syllabus which drove this project. But on a high level, this was a simple 1 month summer internship with IDF in an IDF partner school. It was in Shivaji Vidyalaya in Parel, Kalachowki area in the summer of 2015. It was a collaborative effort with two of my close friends, my college friends, Harshil and Shashank. We three went to this IDF partner school backed by you, Dr. Pillai, our IDF resource, Adiraj, and a lot of cooperation from the school. And we started this curriculum, which got this tag of social engineering, and was very well documented and probably used as a template for various schools moving ahead.
Fine. I think you chose the right path, and you came and helped the students who are in the need of the hour. Designing a curriculum and taking the curriculum to students who are in great need. Particularly, the one which you did was for math. You involved Vedic math and
Right.
or the fundamentals, right? Math is a big phobia. In fact, I also was scared of math. Students are not scared of Gabbar Singh, but they're scared of math. But you made so friendly with the subject. The moment you love the subject and you took the subject so beautiful, the fundamentals were through, and children started liking it. So the fundamentals are very, very important, and you designed the program very well. I think the first of a social engineer or a social ambassador or an intern coming and designing a curriculum, I think you are the first student to do that.
My pleasure, sir. Great. Yeah, it was. I think we must acknowledge the situation and the the setup which we were given. First of all, the school was cooperative in allowing us to teach something out of syllabus in a running semester. Um, you know, language wasn't a key problem. School supported us. IDF had backed us, and we were allowed to make our own syllabus. Which is for higher grades. Eighth, ninth, tenth are closer to the board exams, so it's not easy to be flexible at such grades. But we were happy to be given this opportunity, and yeah, and the focus of it was to teach off syllabus subjects or off syllabus skills at least. So the target skills were communicative English, Vedic maths, and practical science, basically. All these are common subjects. We just added a prefix to them ahead by, showing different side of a subject, giving 30 minutes of something which a kid might remember, but also relate to in his normal studies. So that's how it started. They do study English, but some communicative English might just help them for basic conversations. English wasn't the primary language. Vedic maths is I've never studied it as a subject. It's always something I've seen it online, but maths with a hack, basically. For big multiplications, for square roots, squares, and it's interesting. It's different from the normal math. And for practical science, we literally conducted experiments in class for kids to remember and participate, and that's where the word involved comes in for this session. So we did like we did crazy experiments in class. Actually, we got very household things such as vinegar, baking soda, and we did a reaction in class. Now, vinegar and baking soda are such household kitchen ingredients, and basically the result was an acid and a base react to form carbon dioxide. Whatever medium school it is, every kid knows what carbon dioxide is. And when we reacted the two, what do I say, reactants, we got carbon dioxide to fill a balloon. So you tend to remember such things more than a chemical reaction. And if they are two things picked up from a kitchen, you might remember them even more. So that was the entire basis of it. And basically teach something with a visual effect. That was the motive of it.
Great. I think designing and then also hands-on, both math and also science. So what you did, you had the hands-on. So
Yeah.
tell me, teach me, involve me. So again, you told me I may forget. You teach me, I may or may not remember, but you involve me. So what you did was you involved, and you took those materials which were household material, and that has helped students. I think these are the jugards of IITs or people. Know they become great leaders in the days to come. Kalam sir has seen that small bird flying, and then he thought of rocket. So these are all the Wright brothers also thought that they could fly and the aeroplane had come. So the involvement and then giving them the dreams and the hope, which is very important. And particularly, you chose a school which is a vernacular medium, a Marathi medium school, and language barrier, though it was there, but you ironed out.
Yeah, it was easy because sometimes scientific terms, at least, they are passed on as, you still call carbon dioxide. Easy to understand even if it's a Marathi syllabus, but our objects were relatable. We're not getting lab equipment or anything. Very relatable objects, relatable, uh, commodities to work on. So we made sure that the connect is there, even if the language was not the connect. That mattered a lot.
And you made the presentations in a school where there were no, they were not aware what was a PowerPoint presentation,
Ah,
and you
right,
took
right. That was, I think, a first because the school actually had a portable slide and a projector, which they did not know how to use in its full potential. So we were actually the ones who picked it up from their storeroom and set it up somehow. we were lucky, that the school really had these support systems. And we did use presentations also for some time, especially for maths and English, wherever the blackboard was possible. Otherwise, having a presentation these days is always helpful. And having it in 2015 in a municipal school was also a very good thing.
Yeah. The transformation that has taken place, or we can say the journey from blackboard to whiteboard to green board to no board now, it's all online. So a lot of things have undergone change, and we keep accepting. I think the content which you developed for math, science, and English became the foundation for many other students later on. They joined, so we could give them these are the modules. Please go ahead and use these modules in different schools. We could touch upon a lot of thousands and thousands of children involving the material which were designed by you, and then of course that was made better by the new students who came on the line. So
Yeah, obviously, I'm sure there would have been recurring feedback for improvements or expanding the syllabus. That's a moving book.
So, how did this very thought that we should teach the fundamentals to children? Of course, when the moment the social work comes, people normally think of teaching them subject, or they want to involve with the play, game, something or that sort. But you thought that the foundation, because education is very important. Education is the fulcrum, or it is the most important foundation for any human being. Even if you have to be a part of KBC program and win 1 crore, you need to have that knowledge and education, which is very important. So I think these are the base for which, and because even the UN says the first foundation pillar is education, then comes health.
Correct, correct. No, that's a very important question actually, and many factors contributed to it for sure. Um, Firstly, I would like to thank IDF. Before even I thought of school, when we presented the options, we visited your office, met Dr. Pillai, met you, brainstormed different ideas. First, you asked us about our background. That was very important to make the fit. I remember we even had a conversation with Dr. AP Jairam, who's the
Yes,
one of
nuclear
IDF's
scientist.
members, who's also a scientist, who's a scientist, and having that initial introduction with the scientist was also one of the factors to draft this. So I think we were, as just first years into our engineering college, we were sure education would be our motivator if we had to contribute socially. The thought of putting this different syllabus, that it probably goes on to a point where there's this famous quote that um, you try to be the teacher that you like, or the teacher that you've wanted to see. Or nowadays in the corporate world, they say you try to be the leader or the manager that you always wanted to see. So since we were already students, I think we were the closest connect to another student, and we felt that this practical approach, of involving and learning would be the best fit. So that was the biggest motivation, since we were students and we were at that age to relate to such subjects. We could implement it very easily. It wasn't something we needed to Google it and find what are simple experiments. These are things which we've been through, and we are engineers. So many things added up. As I said, first is the motivation, then the your background, and then what you wanted to see as a student personally. I'm always a big believer of science. I mean, I have studied science till my master's, um, and I've always felt science is something which opens up your mind. It makes you ask questions, okay, and it should be taught in such a way where you ask questions. um, it's a very debatable topic on how it should be taught, but the little contribution that we could do, we felt it has to be this way. In a simple example, I was seeing that I think in second or third grade we had taught that the atmosphere constitutes 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and rest of it are inert gases. So we humans breathe oxygen, right? And that's only 21%, and 21% is enough for it. But then we have 78% nitrogen. Yet we use industrial and chemical fertilizers for crops. Has anyone asked why? Like, if there's 78% nitrogen in the air, why do we use fertilizers? The question goes down to that plants cannot absorb nitrogen in their current form, in this atmospheric form. That's why there's this process called nitrogen fixation, which converts nitrogen for plants to absorb. And since that process is slow, we made fertilizers and and fertilizers only. So these are questions which might not be asked at that age, but hopefully someone tells you why so much supply of nitrogen is not really helpful for us these days, because plants cannot consume it. And look at the flip side of it. Uh, the person who invented fertilizers to convert nitrogen for plants was awarded, Nobel prizes. But a little tweak in that formula made nitrogen bombs, made TNT explosives. So the same formula was used to make nitrogen bombs. So how science can be used for good or bad? And it starts with a simple question which connects to a bigger picture, that is supply and demand. Today in 2020, it's all about supply and demand, be it resources, be it masks. So we have a big supply of nitrogen, but our plants cannot take it in its direct form. That's why. So we can just remember it as a pie chart and say 78% nitrogen and oxygen 21, but we are connected to this bigger picture in many ways which we don't know. So such questions, science has to be taught that way. We are a big believer of it. Three of us who started it, and hopefully, through this, many more people get motivated, and it carries on.
I know. Knowing and doing, these are two things. You should know and you should also do.
Right.
And what right, as you said, that it has to be guided by love and affection, which is very important, and knowledge. So those who have knowledge, they should also have love. So those who have love, they should also have knowledge. So these are two things which are very important. And you see, science can make, science can mar. These are two things which are very, very important. People should know, because knowledge is very important, right? I also heard that chemistry, because with life revolves around chemistry. Chemistry is very important. Without chemistry, there is no life at all. Anything, whether you take water, whether you take food, whether the dress you wear, the whole human body for that matter. So chemistry is everywhere, including the person to person connectivity is also chemistry. मेरा उनके साथ अच्छा chemistry है.
Yeah, and that is now the weakest link because everything is remote. You know, that is where people are realizing that teaching is not happening remotely. Work from home is leaving a little disconnect. And that's where the involved word plays so much role. 2020 taught us that teaching can be done remotely. I mean, exams cannot be done, logistics cannot be done, teaching can be done, but uh, the involvement factor is what's missing out. Teaching, there are plenty of online resources, but it's the involvement that you go to school, that you go to work, and that plays the difference. Teaching, it's so clear, the clarity, the video and audio here. We can always do on teaching like this, but there's a
I know.
difference in teaching in person.
Through this chat with chat, you taught me about the entire chemistry formula and the nitrogen and oxygen. I know, in fact, how you absorb things are very, very important. And you structured things. Through this session, I could understand how the students at that Shivaji Vidyalaya at Kala Chowki would have been so comfortable within this 5 comfortable with nitrogen and the other things, and knowledge factor. I think you are a good teacher. You are a good teacher. I could say that. Very calm, composed. बोलते हैं ना, जो पेड़ फूलों से फलों से लदे होते हैं वो हमेशा झुके होते हैं. The humility I can see in you. You are that humility led person. I know you helped people, and the best thing that you did was you structured things. Structure is very important, right?
Right. Yeah.
You
I
put
mean, that's
you
an
put
important thing, to structure something and then make it scalable. So that is something what startups do, what every person do. You have an idea, you need to first document it. So sometimes They always say first, whenever you have that golden idea, you don't have a paper with you. When you have the paper, then you don't know how to document it. So first you have an idea, you document it, and then if you want to support IDF, suppose if, for example, it has to be scalable. I can't be getting chemicals for every Bal Gurukul or every small uh, school project, if I have to show something. But I'm pretty sure every grocery store has vinegar and baking soda. So this project is scalable, and that's why it was put into the syllabus that it can be performed even in remote places. So that is really important, and that went in the I think in the thought process behind making that syllabus.
Wow. The students who took it forward made the English structuring, because the engineering mindset always speaks about structuring.
Right.
Things will be a little haphazard, but the moment you put an engineer over there, the mindset of an engineer is total. They will put everything in order. They will see that things go properly, which is very, very important. I think an engineering mindset is also very important. Maybe that's why the science and math are taught. People say, no, why science and math in the earlier part of life, when later part of life it will not be of any use, but it will be useful provided your fundamentals are clear. Because that's why these math science which come into the school, later on the student may take commerce or art, but the foundation is laid already, right? They have been taken through the process, which is
Yeah, analytical thinking, logical thinking. I mean, I know there are always questions asked. Even I have asked before that how will quadratic equations, trigonometry help you in life? But some things are just meant to open up your mind. Maybe they don't help you directly in life, but there is a thought process behind everything. Some syllabus is very old, needs to be changed for sure in India. But I think we can lean on science and maths for a while to at least engage us that way. That is really important.
jugaad. You can keep doing a lot of innovations that are happening. There are a lot of grassroots innovations. There are a lot of students in the remote villages who are doing these innovations which are happening. And I for one was part of the innovation commission, which was led by the Dr. Anil Gupta ji. And how students are coming forward and then doing that. So this one thought process, an idea is what is, somebody has to ignite the mind. And particularly when you talk about math class, I know there was an inspection which was going on, and one inspector entered into the classroom and asked, "How many of you like math?" So rather, the inspector expected 50% or 40% only like math, but 100% raised their hand. They said they all like math, and the inspector asked, "How so?" They like math because of the teacher. So the teacher also is very important
Yes,
to
yes.
take the message through.
Correct. So that's really important. And you're talking about basic subjects. I think maths and science are important, but I think as an organization, as IDF, it supports a lot of fundamental teaching. I am sure you will need to brace one day for coding as a grassroots subject. It will reach that level where it would be at level with a maths or a science. And
Sure.
I know technology is the challenge right now. 2020 has taught us that that we might need computers for remote distant learning, but I'm sure technology will find a way. Just as phones at one point, telephones were not very common at one point, and we could not monetize them. I'm sure at one point computers and these coding supporting softwares would become monetizable, and it will reach a level where even government or municipal schools can support it. Hopefully
Yes.
that should be the next vision. I know there's a new education policy which supports a lot of good changes, but I think coding is something which can come up and can be a topic of conversation in the next 5 years if you have this again.
Let's start. I think you should help us in structuring coding now,
For sure.
which we can take it forward, right? I know you can at least guide the upcoming social engineers, maybe an online coaching for them, and then guide them. This is the way that you should go. do and come back with your results and structure. A mentoring.
Yes, mentoring is, and I feel during this remote and virtual teaching, your courses get over, you're done with your work. But one thing which has increased is, people have more time, travel time reduced, so it opens more windows for mentoring, teaching. Um, you would notice high volume on LinkedIn, high volume on mentorship sites. That's because people are realizing, that your soft skills and your cold calls are helpful now. This is the time to self develop because teaching is limited to a screen now. So mentorship has its roots always.
Yes. So you loved your volunteering, and during your masters when you were in the university in US. So the volunteering that you did in India, the nitty gritties that you learned, I'm sure that would have helped you in your masters too over there.
Correct. Experiences always help. Like I have been a course assistant, like a teaching assistant for my entire master's course. You know, again, having monitoring timelines, monitoring course structure, mentoring. Uh, Again, communication is a factor. I know it's English is the common language, but uh, remember, course syllabus can be different, teaching styles can be different. We Indians, I think our Indian syllabus has made us robust enough to know many formulas by heart. But you will realize once you come here, these are given as formula sheets to students, and they are allowed to carry it within the exam. So you see the different teaching styles, many things to learn from them, many things that we know very well. So that has really seen me. I've always been in this teacher mentor relation through happened to be first to IDF, then any small club leadership position in undergrad, or as a course assistant or a teaching assistant in grad school. So I think that connect should never go. They say things like mentoring, business writing. These aren't subjects in any board, any school, or any board exams, but you have to learn them on the side, and that's what works in the end.
This is on the job and off the job. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this keeps going. Yeah. So I think volunteering has helped you and it has taken you to this masters. And there also, again, you have put forth this mentoring, teaching skills. So I think students who are all into this social responsibility spectrum now, what we call, they should all feel blessed. And as they go for their further studies, these things will be helpful for them in the days to come.
yeah,
So,
really, it's a really
spark.
that's growth and development. Teaching mentoring plays an important role. Things like when they say you must explain a concept or explain your major or your studies to someone in simple language, they say explain a kid your job. And if he doesn't understand, that means you're not a good explainer. So these things play an important role in a mentor mentee relation where you need to explain a high level concept in simple language, or even in the classroom that way. So a lot of things to learn for sure, sir.
So, what is that one spark, Mohit, in your childhood days to now that would have come through you, or the something that would have touched you, and then you feel that yes, I need to go ahead and do. What where that ignition or the spark that has come from?
The ignition for the social impact initiatives. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a very common question. I also happen to see some other videos on this, the chat with Gems. I am, I sometimes feel that the driving factor is not always a goal. It can also be the journey. So, like, even I came for something here, majored in something, but I'm doing something else. So your goal always changes due to external factors, not external factors, external motivators. I'm sure it's always in a positive direction. So it was the journey, like, it's your upbringing, it's your school. I had a school which really supported and motivated us to engage in such activities. Campion school, not just as graded subjects, but as a culture in its own. Then my association with IDF, sometimes tagging along with your father in CSR activities. As a kid, it's always good to go for plant drives and beach cleaning after Ganesh Chaturthi. Simple things like that. So I would say it's a mix of many factors, and somehow if you go back to 15 years back, I can't pick one. So I don't have one yardstick as a motivator, but it's the complete journey, I would say.
It's a journey.
Yeah,
Beautiful. You said it. So you get an exposure, you pick and choose those the best ones, and that remains or it gets embedded into the system. And as time goes by, it comes. So lockdown was again a big challenge for the entire world. So was it a challenge for you or an opportunity for you?
I mean, for me, I started my career, like my first full-time job, virtually. Okay, so it's like it's something to remember and also to see, because you don't know how the world looks on site or in person. So for sure, it did affect me. I did this is not something which I thought of, but again, there are learnings. You try to find your way out because I know many. I think we can always learn the business and the technical part, but the main thing is people skills because I'm in a profession which involves a lot of firm handshakes and business meetings which are not going to happen for a long time. Body language, which they say is so important, is limited to this 13-inch screen now. So you can't walk by someone in your office and greet. Many things are not happening for sure, but you find your way basically. It's still learning. I didn't know it would go for so long, but I think everyone's finding their way, be it students. Like I'm not studying right now, but I know students are going through a tough time studying and motivating themselves. A lot of challenges I've seen, few have faced, but happy to take them on, with a positive ambition. Yeah.
Correct. As because during our school days or college days also, we used to
Mhm.
get this, or we used to tell people, your job is not what you learn today, it's going to be totally different. And as you said that you were taught the communication skill, the body language, and now you're with that screen, and you started your career with virtual job. But I think these are all learning. People have accepted, and we should keep learning all the time. That's very important.
That's
So,
very important.
to our champions, what is that one takeaway message that you can give, Mohit?
Yeah, one takeaway message is keeping it on the theme of just social impact and social initiatives. I would say the message is before starting anything, ask who are you doing it for. Is it for, I mean, a certificate? Is it for uh, you want to try something? Whether it's an idea just for you, like mine, the practical initiative. Whether the common public accepts it, it was well accepted. Uh, Whether it's for a bigger cause, whether you want to help someone, a monetary donation. So it's always good to ask the cause. What is it for? That is the big driving factor, and that will help you shape the journey ahead. Then. And this why question, you be it social impact or business or corporate, you always ask the cause first, and that cause is the driving factor on your actions ahead. So don't get into it just because you need it as a work ex, you need it as a certificate. But if you recognize the cause very early, right, I'm sure you have very good resources like IDF, your parents, your schooling, which will support you on that. So the cause is really important.
Fantastic. What drives you is very, very important. It was nice, Mohit, that you have given us this wonderful message. And I asked for one takeaway. You gave a lot of takeaways. It's a bouquet of takeaways. Thank you so
Could not keep it concise.
Thank you for being part of this chat with Cham, and I'm sure your messages will certainly inspire. And very soon we are going to invite you as mentor social engineer for the engineering college students, where you can engineer them through this virtually through the virtual space.
I know that IDF has a huge network of engineering colleges, given of your office location in Mumbai and the college connects that you have, and really a big shout out to you and IDF and leading the entire uh, grassroots team. I think it's very easy for us to start our morning meetings by saying, "I hope everyone's doing safe." But I know you all are on the ground. I see the Facebook lives going to villages and providing resources which are not reaching them. So a big shout out to the entire team who's also doing this and managing business as usual work also, with donors and students asking for internships, many things. So really big shout out to you, sir, for this.
Thank you so much, Mohit, for being part of this show and also keep inspiring all of us. Thank you.
Pleasure to talk to you, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Viewers, you are watching this chat with Champ, and you heard Mohit saying social impact is what is very important. Tell me, teach me, or involve me. So we all should see that we should get involved and we should involve many, and we can see wonderful things happening during the journey of our life. Keep doing good things, and you see how many good are going to come and embrace you. God bless you all. Have a wonderful time.